A man walks away with injuries after a surprise grizzly encounter near Du Bois. The Parental Rights and Education Bill is getting a second look by Wyoming legislators, and we could have a snowy winter ahead of us. Bringing you these stories and more from Wyoming's largest news organization, I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily. A sudden, surprise encounter with a grizzly bear at close range near Du Bois early Saturday left a man hospitalized. No details were released about the man's identity or the extent of his injuries, but Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines learned from the Wyoming Game and Fish Department that the attack happened too fast for the victim to do anything except protect himself.
Total surprise encounter at close range. He didn't even have time to get his bear spray out. But the Game and Fish said he did the right thing. He laid down and covered his head and his neck, and apparently the bear got a few swipes in and then left. The guy was able to walk out to where he could get cell phone service and call for help.
The bear is thought to have left the area, and Game and Fish isn't searching for it or taking any further action, according to the agency. It was the second grizzly attack reported in the region recently. One of the most contentious bills from the 2023 Wyoming legislative session will have an encore Tuesday. Ranchester Republican State Senator Bo Beitman will reintroduce his Parental Rights and Education Bill, which would ban public school teachers from teaching sexual orientation and gender identity themes to children ages kindergarten through third grade. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson reports that during this year's session, a similar bill died when House Speaker Albert Summers refused to pull it out of his drawer before the deadline to consider new bills.
During the last session, it passed through the Senate, then it went to the House. It was killed by Albert Summers. Summers felt that the bill was unconstitutional and impeded local control, so he wouldn't let it out of his drawer.
On Tuesday afternoon, the legislature's Joint Education Committee will discuss a new draft version of the bill. A Colorado man is suing Cheyenne's hospital, saying its emergency room staffers refused to treat him after a car accident during the height of the pandemic because he wouldn't wear a mask. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that Christopher Fonte alleges he couldn't breathe well 45 minutes after a 2021 T-bone vehicle crash, but said the intake nurse told Fonte he'd have to wear a mask for any staffers to evaluate him.
The emergency room personnel allegedly would not let him into the hospital without a mask, even though he said he was having breathing problems. So he had to seek care elsewhere in what he describes as a prolonged medical treatment.
Fonte's complaint referenced a 2022 report which found that the hospital violated federal law by failing to log and provide Fonte any emergency care. His complaint also claims that hospital staffers made false statements in that report to cover their actions. I'll be back with more news right after this.
At Hilltop Bank, we understand that buying a home is a big decision. That's why we're here to be your trusted partner on the path to home ownership. Our experienced mortgage team will guide you every step of the way, from pre-approval to closing. We offer competitive rates and a wide variety of home loan options to best suit your needs. With our local knowledge and personalized service, you'll feel confident and comfortable throughout the entire home buying process. Contact us today to start your journey toward home ownership. Hilltop Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
After 5 years of litigation, the Federal 10th Circuit Court of Appeals has rejected claims by environmental groups against a 3,500-well natural gas project near Jonah Field in Sublette County. A number of environmental advocacy organizations claimed that the BLM acted unlawfully in approving the project, but the three-judge panel ruled that just because a project may cause negative impacts to the environment doesn't mean the agency acted unlawfully in authorizing it. And Wyoming is in the middle of a very wet summer, but a new winter forecast circulating on social media is making many shiver with anticipation. Last week, snowmobilers.com shared an unattributed color-coded graphic of the 2023-2024 winter forecast, projecting a snowy winter, including for Wyoming. But as Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi reports, the state's top meteorologist has doubts about the projection's sourcing and methods.
Since we're just at the beginning of August still, it's too early to say how accurate that it's going to be. And really, at the end of the day, you have to wait for the winter to be over before you can see how accurate any forecast is going to be.
Still, Day said the graphic could be correct on accident.
Based on his consensus, probably going to be an above average snow winter for a good portion of the state and probably a bit colder too.
And that's today's news. You can read about all of these stories and more on CowboyStateDaily.com, Wyoming's largest and most read news source. Sign up today for our free daily newsletter and get unlimited access to unrivaled coverage of what's going on in the Cowboy State. I'm Wendy Core for Cowboy State Daily.